All right, welcome to Skyla's crazy world. Today we're going to be talking about the world of the sexual dolls. Now, I know what you guys may be thinking. It's not like that, I promise. We're talking about how children dolls are sexualized in our society. Why are they sexualized? When did they become sexualized? And all that great jazz. I hope you guys stick into it and enjoy. All right, so right now what we're going to talk about is the first topic, which is how did dolls become sexualized? So first we're going to start off with a little bit of history of like where the first doll came from and all that good jazz. I love the word jazz. Sounds so fancy. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Ruth Handler. Ruth Handler is basically the founder, if you will, quote unquote, of the Barbie doll. She says that she went to Germany and she noticed that children were playing with adult dolls. Then she came up with the idea of bringing these adult dolls to the States. So the first Barbie doll was created in 1950s. And from there, Barbie has been one of the main manufacturers of Barbie dolls since. So fun fact, Barb Handler actually came up with the name Barbie because she wanted to name the doll after her daughter, and her daughter's name was Barbara. So once Barbies came out in the 1950s, they were like an automatic like shootout, like they were amazing. Everyone loved them. They loved like the makeup on her and the style of her and everything. Like they just loved it so much. But what you start to realize is how old is Barbie really? Like you have these children 3 to 12 playing with this doll, which I think is to betray a 21 or a young 20-year-old woman playing with these dolls. And it's just like you expect people to not have an issue with, like adults to not have an issue with that. So it comes to the conclusion, like, why are you allowing, 3-year-olds to play with a doll that has on these short skirts and these tight crop tops and, all of this makeup? I feel like it tends to make the child more self-conscious about themselves. Like, wow, look at this beautiful doll. Like, am I good enough for this beautiful doll to have? And then that is when, they start to idolize these dolls. And that is where it became sexualized in our society. When you start to idolize something so much, it becomes in a sexual form in the States. So yes, I do agree that our society is to blame for the reason why these dolls are so sexualized and so idolized. We can also even talk about, this is a doll that I hate the most. I don't care what anybody says, I hate this doll the most. It is called the Baby Brats. This doll right here, I mean, like, it is ridiculously sexualized. It has on, it's a baby, first of all. It's like, maybe, I'm gonna go with a 3-year-old. This doll is like 3 years old, right? It's really chunky, it's small, it's very curvaceous. I mean, the hips on this doll is ridiculous. It's overly drawn for it to be like a young, it's like a 3-year-old, I promise. Look it up. Yeah, it's called a Baby Brats. This doll has on a crop top and some tiny little girl underwear. I mean, this right here is ridiculous. It even has on makeup and eyelashes, and the hair has on these cute little pigtails, make it seem like it's innocent. And this is just so sexualized. It's not even funny. I really can't. And when I got this, it was off of a website. It was the Daily News of the UK. And basically the lady was having a birthday party for her child, and she was gifted this Baby Brats, and she was like throw in the trash right away because this doll is so like pretty and it looks just like a sex doll. Like, that's exactly what it looks like, a sex doll. I just cannot believe it. It even goes down to just even like the regular Barbie dolls. Like, I have this Barbie doll has on this short skirt. I promise you, if she was to bend at her waist, that you will most definitely be able to see her butt. Like, this dress is probably at her butt. Literally, it is at her butt. And then you have this other Barbie doll where she has on this really cropped shirt and this super short skirt, which I promise you will be able to see her butt because it's a fluffy skirt. However, you ever notice the Barbie doll, they always have like these sexual eyes. Like, they have like this drawn in sexualization about them. And it's just from the way that they dress and the way that they look and the way that they're presented to you. And that is another reason why we sexualize these dolls, because they look so sexualized. Like, how do you expect somebody to not be attracted to these dolls if they're so sexualized? And they have on these heels to make them look, like out and up and just gorgeous. So it's just crazy, like, the way that these dolls are portrayed. So now, as we speak on how the dolls are being portrayed, I'm going to talk about the way that the dolls just actually look. So I have a Bratz doll, and as I look at it, I see sexual eyes. I see very big lips that are colored, which is with lipstick, of course. She has on a bright navy blue skirt with these 6-inch heels. I'm sure they're 6 inches, which look like burgers. They're actually really cool. She has on these dangly earrings. They are probably touching her shoulders for sure. I know that for a fact. And then she has on this crop top that is barely covering her boobs, or where her boobs should have been. So as you see here, this is just some representation that people want us to have for children that are from 3 to 12. And I don't think that should be a good representation, And then here I have this Barbie doll. She literally has on, it's a skirt. It's a pink skirt. And it is right underneath her butt, like literally. So, and it's on her waist, like it's on her waistline. So it's like it's a mini skirt. She has on a mini skirt. Then she has on this 3/4 kind of shirt. And then she has on these heel boots with sunglasses in her hands. So this again just shows you how these dolls are trying to portray for little children, especially little girls. For the next segment of my podcast, we're going to talk to some of my friends and get their opinions on my topic.
Hi, my name is Heaven Davis. I'm in the James Madison College, and I'm a freshman here at MSU.
Hi, I'm Halia. I'm also in the James Madison College, and I'm also a freshman here at MSU.
Hello, my name is Chandra Fleming. I'm a journalism major at Michigan State, and I'm also a freshman.
All right, so the first question I have for you guys is, what do you think about the society and companies sexualizing dolls?
I think the market has a demand for a certain kind of doll in society to sell. We all have this image of what a perfect idea of a toy is, and often dolls represent that human image.
Yeah.
So they continue to emphasize the body image or the idealistic person in real life, and so that transforms over into the making of a doll.
So do you think that kind of comes with idolization of a doll too? Because you know how they have like those people who want to look like a doll, so they get all this plastic surgery to end up looking like this doll so they can have like the perfect body, or like what they consider to be perfect?
Absolutely. I think that dolls hold a lot of weight in our society because they influence so many people so quickly. And so when we put out an image of a doll, it represents the ideas of society at that moment, and that goes from fashion to body shapes to skin tone, the way it has its makeup done. All those are representations of how the company feel, or the people behind the making of that doll feels. And so that image again gets it continues to represent how people feel in society.
I feel that, like, also you have to understand that many dolls are given to very, very young children at a very young age.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the view that they have in their head of this doll that they're playing with. And so I think it's a very deep situation, because as you grow older, you have little children still with this same image of this doll that they used to have. So that's where the makeup companies make their money from, because of course I want to look like this doll that I've been playing with, you know. And that's when, even when you get older, you do have that idea of like plastic surgery, because again, you're going back to that same image of, this is what's pretty, this is what, you know, mommy bought me, it's a pretty doll, it's cute, do you like its makeup, it's skinny, you know. So I think it is definitely an idol for many people, and it sells.
Me personally, I disagree. I feel like dolls, they might have used to be like this idol and such, but now I feel like they're not as big as they used to be. I feel like kids don't play with dolls no more. So to say that kids want to be like the doll or look like the doll, I just don't see that no more. I see more as the entertainment pop culture world has made children more into that type of stuff.
Okay, but I also feel like pop culture got their image from a doll too.
How?
In a way, because when you look at somebody, the automatic thing, like when somebody's pretty, I feel like you automatically see like, wow, they look like a Barbie doll, they're gorgeous. Like, look at them. Like, you don't say like, wow, that's a pretty person. They be like, oh, she looks like just like a Barbie doll when that's a cute person. I don't know, people.
I think also you have to understand and look at truly what kids are playing with and using. Like, I know a lot of children who gets on YouTube, and yes, they're not playing with physical dolls, but they're looking at dolls still. They're looking at people play with dolls. They're just playing with that same image, even though it's not physical anymore. I think it's still throughout
there.
the media.
Yeah.
And I think it's throughout the media, you know, even when you get older, you know, with teenagers, like, even in this idea of like just having pop stars, they all have that
still
same
look like a Barbie doll to me. That's why I say
a doll
like
was supposed to look like.
Yeah.
Also, in response to Chandra's pop culture comment, I think that when, for example, when Nicki Minaj first came out, so many young children were attracted to her, because I feel like she still had that Barbie image.
She even called herself Barbie.
Yeah, that's her things. Her fans are called Barbs, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
So yes, she emphasizes that culture of what that image is supposed to be, that Barbie image. And so even outside of like physical Barbie dolls, we still have that image in our heads, whether
even
it's
in music videos too.
Whether
music
it's in
videos
music,
are heavy.
whether it's just looking up on YouTube, like wherever you look, you have this image ingrained into your brain still of what this Barbie was or still is.
Yeah, and I think people are so receptive to that idea, because it's a Barbie. Like, it's something that we are accustomed to just believing that's pretty. So when somebody says, oh yeah, I'm a Barbie, we like, yeah, you look pretty like a Barbie.
Even when I was getting ready for prom, my auntie was like, oh my god, you look just like a Barbie, that's so cute. Yeah. So like, I really do think even still it's kind of like a thing. Okay, did you guys want to move on to the next topic? Okay.
Well, I mean, we got you.
So let's talk about like the average doll. Like, what does the average doll look like? Like, let's just throw out some things of what you would know, like what you automatically think of when you think of a Barbie.
Makeup,
skinny.
thick,
skinny,
yes, pale skinned.
What do you mean by thick?
If you have seen the latest Barbie dolls, they come in all shapes and forms.
I think
that's new. Yeah, that's a new thing right there.
I believe that the Barbie brand itself has did a great job at trying to represent all forms of people within their Barbie system, because I think they realize now that the Barbie image is so ingrained into people's heads.
It is, yeah.
And that they're trying to find a way to represent all young people, because they understand that these images go out to younger children, and it stays there with, technically for their lives. They remember what they used to play with. You know, your childhood is it's a very prominent time in your life, and so
It is, yeah.
when people play with those toys, you know, they never forget them. And so Barbie, the brand, I commend them because they have did a really good job of trying to include people of color and more shapely dolls and finding ways to integrate all people. And so I think they are doing a good job. But I still think, especially people feel like our generation, like, we played with dolls, and so I still think that when we think of Barbie dolls, that we still have that older image of the tall, pale skin, skinny, kind of shapely, makeup, fancy clothes. I still think we have that image ingrained into our brains, and I think that for the next generation of children growing up right now, I think they are very blessed to have those images come out. But you still have a large amount of society who thinks of the Barbie as this ideal image of what it used to be.
Well, true, but I also feel like we should also accept the new dolls that we have.
Absolutely.
I totally agree with
Absolutely.
that. But I just, you know, as me being as how old I am, and you know, back then it was not that representation of black dolls. I still have that image of, oh, the pretty slender white doll with the, you know, long blonde hair, had the little tiny curls in it. You know, I still have that image. I don't have that image of a pretty dark skinned woman with curly hair. You know, I don't have that. Sandra, what
I
were you
have
gonna
to
say?
admit, growing up, I only played with black dolls, so I don't get it.
I never had, no, I had maybe like 1 or 2 black dolls in all of my life.
Yeah,
I've never really had like a lot of
in
black dolls.
In response to Chandra, like I'm like with Skylar almost. I've had like I only remember truly having like 2 black dolls for real. But in response to Chandra, I think black dolls were out there. I think they existed, but as far as them being mainstream, I think that's what we're kind of referring to, is that mainstream idea of what a doll is supposed to be. And I think as far as women of color, I never really seen that in the mainstream of a doll. Like if you went to Toys R Us, 9 times out of 10 back then, you're not going to see a mainstream like black doll or a woman of color at all, really. Did they exist? I think they absolutely existed. I played with them as well. But I think you probably, you know, and maybe your parents were like a little bit more like, I want to get, you almost have to kind of like search for that.
Yeah, I know that
doll.
for a fact that my auntie, you know, she tried to make sure that she at least got somewhere close to a black girl, even if it was like a little light skin, you know, like a little caramel chocolate. She tried to at least get me like a black doll. So I feel like that's,
Yeah, I remember for our birthday that my first black doll is something my great grandmother went out and hunted for, basically.
Yeah.
I remember she saying like, I'm going to get you a black doll, and she came back with a black doll because she had to go out and hunt for this doll. And so if you have like, you know, abrasive parents are like, I'm going to make sure my child is represented in her mind, absolutely. But again, that mainstream idea of what the Barbie was, it wasn't a person of color, I don't believe.
And also, I've also noticed, like, I have a little cousin, and we was buying her a Baby Alive, and it was a white doll, and it was a black doll, Baby Alive. And she was like, I want the white doll. We was like, you should get the black doll.
Oh, yeah, that is a really big.
You should get the black doll. And you know they have a case study like that. Like,
yeah, they do.
They literally have little kids go up and be like, what's the pretty doll? And they choose. Majority of
that happened like what, like the 1950s, something around there. And they did it again. It got better, but it's still like
so
the white is better. Yeah,
I think it's still a problem. Yes, I think we do commend companies that are now beginning to change, but I think that system of idea is very systematic, and it's a lot of changing that needs to be done. But yeah, I think it might be an improvement, but I think it's still a very slight problem.
To add on to what Heaven is saying, I have a cousin, she's mixed, and her family and me also mainly buy her like brown, kind of light dolls because she's mixed. So we haven't really brought her no white dolls. So one day, it was around Christmas, she up and said, can I get a white doll? Awkward. But she was like, can I get a white doll? And we were kind of like, she's like, she didn't out and say, can I get a white doll? But she was like, can I get one that look like my mama? It was weird, you know?
Yeah, I feel like as a child, I feel like you should play with both. I don't think you should play with all black dolls or play with all white dolls. I feel like you should play with a little mixture, a little additive. But as a black woman, you know, it was hard to find dolls nowadays. So if I had a child, I would get her all black dolls because, you know, I didn't have that. But, you know, you can't do that because I feel like that is what will happen if I would do something like that to my child.
Need to recognize that it's beauty in all of it.
It's beautiful in all people.
And I think really the problem is not that mainstream Barbie dolls are that way, but it's the fact that there's no other dolls to go along with it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, that's fine. Do people exist who is very skinny with big breasts, who dress like that, who wear a lot of makeup? Absolutely.
Right.
That's fine. But it's since by it's only being that type of doll only in the mainstream media,
yeah,
that's where the problem comes in. Because it's like, oh, well, this is the only doll that's out, so this is what I have to be. If there was, you know, multiple dolls that, you know, just fit everybody, we can say, oh, yeah, all of these are beautiful. We're going to accept all of them. So I think the real problem is the, you know, lack of diversity.
Or we can just teach our kids to love to love themselves.
Yeah.
And to just appreciate what they have. Kids want too much nowadays.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we do. I think also it
feel like our world is also very different from when we were kids as well. I feel like when we were kids, we were kind of almost transitioning from getting like more black representation. So even though we had more taste than our parents did, it's still like that factor of, I think I want the white Barbie doll, you know?
Yeah.
But I think now Barbie has gotten a lot of, like, the Barbie corporation just in general, they have gotten a lot better with what they are doing. I think they had like a disabled Barbie doll. I think they had like a couple of black.
On their butt.
Huh? What?
I don't understand. But yeah, Skylar, yeah, I think as Barbie also is doing a great job at that.
Okay, pause. Sandra. What are you saying?
I'm saying Barbie is starting to add all these dolls with disabilities, different colors, different shapes, because people are starting to realize that they don't have a diversity set of Barbie dolls.
Yeah, they don't.
Okay,
they never did.
Can we speak about what Chandra is talking about real quick?
Okay.
Because I was going to mention this slightly earlier when I think Halia brought it up about the diversity of Barbie. And yes, we do commend Barbie for doing that. But you also have to understand that at the end of the day, Barbie is a corporation. They are a profit company. Mm-hmm. And I think that our society views are changing to realize that, you know, all people are beautiful.
And they need to be represented.
And so they need to be represented. And so if Barbie or any other doll company continues to just make this one type of Barbie doll, they're going to get backlash. People are going to boycott. People's not going to buy them because people are realizing that they are gorgeous as well as that type of idea too. I think, and we also see it like just not with Barbie dolls, with any with cosmetics. Like now we see a variation
of shades. It's crazy how many. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
That wasn't a thing. You know, that was not a thing. You had just a few shades, and people were mixing shades. Yeah. I remember, you know, you need to mix this shade and this shade to find your color, and we don't see that no more. You can go into a makeup shop and get color matched, and you can walk out the door for people who are darker.
Right.
So I think it's a boom and people accepting themselves. So I think what Chandra is mentioning is a good idea. Like, is a good point. Like, yeah, they're creating these disabled dolls. They're creating dolls of color. But, you know, we don't know if it's an underlying meaning to it or not. Mm-hmm. It may not be.
It has to be. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, that's true. Because now it's starting to make me think, like, should we celebrate them doing that in the first place now? Because at this point, I feel like they're only doing it so they can stay relevant and not because they want to. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So should we start celebrating, like, oh, wow, I'm happy they're finally doing this. I'm happy that they're finally doing this now.
And it's a thing, too, where people be like, well, you should have been did it. Like, why are you doing
That's what I was thinking. You know, I think about that, but a lot of fashion companies too.
And you see, and like, a lot of stuff, like, with the pink and Victoria's Secret angels,
with those.
Like, you know, you can notice, like, they're getting a few more people of color. The people are getting kind of thicker sometimes. But it's like, are we celebrating that now? Because, well, you know what I'm saying? But you do have to recognize that people are moving along and people are recognizing things. But, you know.
I think, in my response to that, I think when you see that companies and corporations are changing, it's a sign that society is also changing.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree with that.
And so, I feel like even if the company itself felt forced to do that, I feel like that's a great deal of respect to how society is changing and the acceptance of the general public. And so, I feel like that is something that we should continue to recognize and congratulate, because that means that we're evolving as a society and as a community, that we are starting to respect each other as human beings, and that we understand that all people are great and beautiful. And so when it comes to the Barbie dolls and the company trying to find representation, I think that should be congratulated, because it is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because at the end of the day, if they think people are not going to buy it, then they're not going to make it. So the fact that people are potentially buying other dolls that look like them is a representation that society is changing.
All right. So now we're going to switch gears a little bit. We're going to talk about the pole dancing doll. If you guys haven't seen it, look it up right quick. Have y'all seen it?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Have you seen it? Look it up.
Interesting.
Oh, wow.
Look at, yeah. So it's basically like this doll. She's like on this like podium thing, and it's called the pole dancing doll. Yeah. So what do you guys think about those type of things? Because now it's coming to the conclusion, like, are dolls really sexualized now? Because as you see, they have a doll on a pole. But you also have to think about, we as a society also sexualize pole dancing, because if you think about it, pole dancing is an actual sport.
Exactly.
So we have to sometimes really get out of that mindset that stripping and pole dancing are two different things.
That's true. I remember watching America's Got Talent one time, and one of the acts, they were pole dancing.
Mm-hmm.
The judges said no, they didn't like it because it reminded them of stripping.
Yep.
And so I think that is a very cruel society type of mindset to believe in something like that. Now, as far as the pole dancing doll, I'm going to unfortunately disagree with that image.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, like I said, these type of toys are being given to very small children,
Which is like 3 to 12, because that's usually what's on the box.
And they have that image. And so when you grow up, and especially if you're talking about American society, when you grow up thinking like, okay, this is fun, I think it sometimes almost leads into that idea of stripping almost. And it's not necessarily the doll or the fault. It's definitely a society thing. So I think it could possibly be something positive, because like you said, it is a sport.
Yeah. But for 3 to 12-year-olds,
you know, I think but that's a very tricky situation to me, because it's like, well, you have a doll that's playing track, you have a doll that's
because they don't call it the stripper doll.
They're not, you know what I'm saying? It's not a stripper doll.
They call it
the
pole dancing doll. So, you know, it's more elegant.
Yeah.
I think with many things in society, you have to allow things to evolve. And I think pole dancing as a sport, it's becoming more popular, but I don't think it's
to that point.
I don't think it's still
to be making it as a doll for kids. I think
exactly.
It's a bit much.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes over that limit of what's inappropriate or what's not. And like Heaven said, you don't want to still have, you know, in 10 years that pole dancing is still regarded as something very sexual in society. And you don't want to have that image ingrained to your children's minds. So I think when you have radical movements like that you do have to give it some time. And obviously for parents, you know, be very conscious of what
What
they
you
give to
give
their
your
children
kid,
as well. So, obviously parents were, I assume, were outraged about this doll.
Yeah.
So, again, certain things are only going to have a market if people buy them and purchase them. And so I think when it comes to toys in general, you're not going to have something selling that people feel is inappropriate as well. So
that's the reason that I kind of made this podcast, because I feel like it's around that time, when kids are starting to get toys and stuff. So I feel like, for parents, this should be like their point of where you have to be kind of conscious of the toys that you give your children. I think that's very important. And giving a child a toy, you may see it as that, but you think, oh, my child's not going to understand that. They're not going to know. But, like, as you get older, you kind of remember some of the toys that you had. And then you be like, I can't believe my mom really gave me this toy of a stripper, So, that's really important to, like, really...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think just being conscious at all times is like a positive.
Okay, so I have another question about another doll. I don't know. I know Halia had it. We was talking about that at lunch or dinner. I don't know where we were at. About the baby brats. And they were all talking about... I was talking about, like, how sexual this doll looked. If you see it, look at it. I was talking about how sexual this doll looked. And I was just like, this is not something I would give my kid, because they have on underwear and they have on crop tops. But you said... Halia, you said that you didn't see it like that as a kid.
I was a Bratz fan, not a Barbie girl.
Of course. Every black girl had to be. We didn't have a choice.
So,
wait, what's the name of the doll?
Baby Brats.
Oh.
Yeah, so...
I remember the Baby Bratz doll.
Absolutely, yeah. Growing up, I definitely remember the Baby Brats.
Oh, boy.
And looking at
them now, I'm like...
Oh, boy. Looking back. Oh, boy.
Yeah, looking at them now, they are very sexualized. Again, and I think something I brought up to Skylar was that when you get older, I think we kind of force ourselves to think of a certain images as sexual. Just because of the knowledge we gain as we grow up. So obviously as a child, like, I don't believe any of us were sexualizing the baby brats, like, oh, look at them in their little booty shorts or panties or whatever they were. For me, they were just, it was the summertime and they were in shorts and that was a very appropriate outfit for them. So, I didn't look at them as that way when I was younger, but I think when you become older, you kind of look back and you be like, okay, hold on, wait a minute. But
I feel like as a parent, though, that should have been an automatic no.
I disagree.
And that's where I'm kind of like,
I disagree.
Were your parents conscious of the purchase that they made? So, Sandra, tell me why you disagree.
I disagree because why would my parent think, oh, this doll is sexualizing, I'm going to let my child have it?
I agree.
No, that's what I'm saying. They was not conscious of their purchase.
Right.
They weren't thinking that, but as a child, they should have.
But that's weird.
Because I have a thing with that, because my auntie, she would never give me a doll that was overly looked like too much. She would never do that.
For me, I don't think my mom was that. She was not like, is this doll sexual?
Right.
She was not doing that. I don't think it was necessary even to do that. And I think that's why companies produced them and why we all had one, is because they weren't a sexual toy.
Right.
But now that conversation is coming up, I think we're sexualizing the toy.
Exactly.
Like, from our own personal views, like, we're doing that, and I don't think that's something that occurred when we were younger or in our parents' eyes. Even.
I disagree.
Why?
Because I think you're almost forgetting that many corporations and just companies have very underlining meanings to certain objects.
True.
Just because you, as a 5-year-old, seeing this doll and you didn't sexualize it, doesn't mean that the corporation wasn't doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Then that's the corporation's fault.
Well, I think it pours
also could
out
have been
to
like
society. Now, in my view, I also was a Bratz friend. I had a Bratz baby. I had that doll, And now that I look at it, it's horrible.
It's awful.
It's horrible.
And I feel like it was kind of like they were almost sexualizing anything that wasn't white.
Yeah.
So now it's making me seem like anything that wasn't white was sexualized.
No, baby,
anything
no.
black, mixed, Latino, because that's all the Bratz was. They were all mixed and black. So
Chloe was white.
Chloe was white.
I thought she was Latino.
Chloe was
No,
white.
okay, no, you had
was Hispanic.
Yasmin was Hispanic, and then you had the other black girl who.
Sasha was black.
Right.
Yasmin looked light skinned to me, but okay.
She was light skinned. I'm gonna go with. No, she was Latino too, cause her grandma. Her grandma was Latino.
Yeah, and Jade. Wasn't Jade white?
I thought Jade was white.
Jade was white.
Look it up, cause I could have sworn they all had something in them.
But okay, even then, say if the dolls were white, say if they were, I don't know, the dolls are dressed horribly,
But they're white baby brats too. So
they dress horribly.
They all just horribly. I mean, at the end of the day,
okay. You can take the race out of it.
Take the race out. Yeah, I'm gonna take the race out of it.
Sex sells.
Exactly.
And
that's what I was trying to
It
tell.
sells, but people sexualizing a baby brat is disgusting, and the world is sick. Boom.
That is.
That's
sick.
the point. So you can't say that
it
it never didn't look sexualized, because it does.
But we don't see that.
I think used to. We didn't used
but
to.
okay, but that's nasty to sit here and say
I
this
think
doll
you claim
looks
it
like a thought or something. That's
She
nasty.
do.
You're sexualizing the damn doll.
I do.
I think I want to agree with Chandra here. I think that we are sexualizing the doll because we have these views of
I
what
can tell you right now, though,
inappropriate.
I would never buy my child that
But
doll
there's a
right
reason,
now.
there's a
Would you
reason
buy
why.
it? Would you
Why
buy
would
it?
buy a child that
Because
doll?
I would not want my
Hold
child to
on.
think that was okay and
There's
dress
a
like
reason.
that.
Because you're sexualizing the doll.
Wait,
No, not even that.
I want to make a comment about what Halia is saying and how y'all kind of agreed a little bit and how I think it's hypocritical. Now, at one point, Halia, you were saying, you were saying how like it's a certain time period and stuff, and how you need to wait until a child is old enough to understand what's good and bad. Now, as a child, no, we didn't sexualize the doll because we don't have no outlook of that. But growing up, you know what I'm saying? If you have that image in your head that this is like that's okay, then of course you're gonna carry it along with you. The same way, like you said with the pole dancing doll. Yeah, it's probably is innocent. But if you have sent that image to a very young child who may not know about the world and they grow up and they still think like, oh, this is okay, it's going to turn into a form of stripping, because here in our society, in America, right now, that is not okay. It's not.
And it's
I'm
sexualized.
not going to say it's not okay. It's just
It's
sexual.
sexualized.
It's
So you can't
sexual.
have a doll that does that, and it's gonna be.
But now it comes down to the parents' decision. My mother brought me that doll, right? She's dressed like this. Am I dressed like that right now? No. That if my mother brought me that stripping doll, you need to tell your child, yeah, I got you this pole dancing doll, but that ain't the right thing to do.
I agree. Because,
If that's the case, then you should have that conversation without having a doll.
Well, here's my thing with the.
But you're saying basically, oh well, you got this doll, you probably gonna start dressing like it then.
Yeah,
So
I
now
feel
that's
like
when the parent needs to start talking to the
disagree
child about the
because
doll. See, now we're back to doing too much about a stupid doll.
I agree with Chandra on this one, as far as the baby brats, at least, because like I said, we all had one. None of us are dressed like that right now.
Exactly.
Because we were taught not to.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
that means
But
you
I'm not
down.
saying. But what if a child didn't have that representation of a parent? So they're gonna be looking.
But also-
that's what I'm saying. They're
but
gonna be
also-
looking at these dolls
but also-
for inspiration. For like, okay, maybe this is what I should dress like. Maybe this is
I
what
don't
I
know.
should do. A
I
lot
don't
of people
know
in our
about
society
that.
are
10
like
years,
that.
That's kind of.
Are you thinking about dressing like the doll you had now?
No, but I do like looking pretty. I do like looking like a doll. Maybe I want to be a
let
doll.
me tell y'all something though. Now I've seen this. I've
idolize
seen
dolls.
this commentary on the internet, on social media, and they were saying like, you know how right now, our generation, we're in a huge makeup boom.
Yeah.
People say it's because of like the dolls like the Bratz who was fully. If you go back and look at the Bratz dolls, our makeup looks similar to theirs, full blown, full faced. Period.
In their opinion. I just
But I'm just saying.
So when you go on
don't
Instagram,
never know.
when do you ever see a person look undone?
You don't. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that that's.
Do you
because
post a
of the
picture
Bratz
of you
doll.
undone? Do you post a picture of
No.
you undone?
Do you post a picture when you undone?
Nobody does.
I don't wear makeup.
And it's that.
No, it doesn't have to be
everybody-
about you being on makeup. Just you looking undone.
But I just feel like at this point, with filters, Photoshop, all that going on in
You
life,
still-
why
you
use
still
that
look
stuff?
done,
You
though.
use that stuff for
Exactly.
a reason.
But I'm not
Because
trying
you
to
want
look like this doll. Y'all give
might not be
credit to the doll.
You might be psychologically
It's just a
not
toy.
thinking that,
Yeah.
but mentally
No,
you
y'all
probably
thinking
are.
too deep into it. It's just a doll. You think I care about a doll I played with 10 years ago?
No.
Yes.
No, I don't.
No, listen,
Me
nobody's
personally,
saying-
no.
I'm saying, Chandra, though,
I feel like society has made it like that.
Okay, but where did it come from?
Society put what in your head? People.
Everybody want to be a follower. YouTube, makeup tutorials. That's how makeup became this big old thing.
But
Everybody
why,
started
though?
doing makeup.
Thank you.
Everybody
Exactly.
started
Where did
doing
it? Where did
come
it?
from?
The pride from? Where did
I
it come
don't
from?
know. And I'm not going to sit here and say
Exactly.
it came from a doll.
But listen,
I know that.
and that's
I'm
what
not
I'm trying to
saying
say,
that.
though.
I'm
Because
not saying
before
that.
our
I'm not saying
generation, you had like, okay, I'm technically not a 2000 baby, but I'm gonna say I'm a 2000
Girl, you
baby.
1999.
Anyway, you had back in like
I can't
the
stand people like
90s where stuff like that did not exist. You did not wear stuff like that because they didn't have, they form representation was very like makeup. They had on makeup, but it was like, average makeup. All of a sudden, in our generation, we have this idea of like this. The Barbie idea has always been around. Barbie been around since before we was born. Okay, but like stuff like the Bratz dolls, Monster High, these people are like dressed
To
very
the T. I
differently.
mean,
They look differently.
beat.
You know what I'm saying? They're beats. Okay,
Period.
makeup done, hair laid.
Makeup.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, outfit.
And-
Bam.
And I'm not saying, I think fashion changes, of course, things just simply change. I'm not saying that it's a direct correlation, but you have to look and notice that maybe that is something that we have to notice and look at. And then again, also, you do have this boom of like sexuality that is okay, that probably wasn't okay back and before our generation. Back in like, in our parents' generation, maybe dressing the way that we dress right now, tummies out,
Bad. Yeah.
a lot of skin showing. Maybe that really wasn't something that like our generation, our parents' generation did.
Yeah.
But we have things like the breast dolls and little baby brats that's half naked. We think it's okay, and we're not saying that it's wrong to dress that way. It's okay to dress that way. You can dress any way you want to, but you have to just look back and see, was I influenced when I was a little girl? Did I say I want to dress like that?
No.
And I
look at
feel
that.
like, you don't, that's why I'm saying, like, you may not see that you're being influenced, but at the end of the day, you are being influenced by something to dress some way. And I feel like it deprived from the Barbie doll, and it kind of, and I can see how you say, oh, it came from like YouTube and all that, but where did YouTube come from? It had to be
YouTube
something
ain't come
before
from
that.
Barbie doll.
But you don't know that either. We don't know it either. But what we're saying is that
I mean,
you
where
saying-
else could it have came from? Tell us, like, help me
The
understand,
man
like.
who created YouTube. Next subject, please.
No, that's not
No,
what we're
that's
saying.
not what we-
We saying like this idea of like people, because of people getting on like YouTube and just doing like these full blown faces of makeup and just dressing this type of way. Like, I think that's something very new. First of
It
all,
can come from celebrities, media.
Okay, so
But
where do celebrities
all that.
come from? You have to have some form of
Their mother.
idea. You have to have some form of what is pretty. So there had to be a standard first. And then there were people who followed this standard.
I get what you're saying, but I think you're giving Barbie dolls and all that way too much credit.
I don't think I am.
You are.
Barbie dolls was the
like-
first form of women that looked like something. Because back in the day, they didn't. Like, I mean, for real, they...
So you're gonna ignore the supermodels, models, regular models, actresses.
Before that, there were
were
still Barbie dolls.
what Skyla is referring to
I
is
get what Skyla is saying,
Yeah.
but I just don't agree with it. I don't think
I
that
mean,
we should give Barbie
but-
dolls that much credit.
I don't
First
think-
of all,
okay.
kids nowadays don't even play with Barbie dolls that much. We stopped playing with Barbie dolls really soon. I don't think
I'm gonna
Barbie
disagree with
dolls
that. I
did
was playing with
much.
Barbie dolls when I was 12. So...
That's a personal issue. But I just feel like that's giving it way too much credit.
I feel like I'm not
It's more
giving
stuff
it
going
too
on
much
in
credit,
society.
but
It's
yes,
more stuff
as
that's
of
going on in
now,
society that had influence on people and all of this stuff than a dang Barbie doll.
I agree with you to some extent. But I also agree that you should not downplay the fact of a doll.
If you let a doll control the way you think, then something is wrong with you. Period.
I'm not
It's
saying
control.
that's not what I'm saying. I think
Hold
you're
on.
reading
It's
too
not
much.
a control. It's not. No one. I don't know anyone. Well, I watch a very freaky, weird side of music.
Me
but
too.
Anyway, the average person like me, I feel like I'm an average type of girl. You know, I never in my life have held up a Barbie doll and was like, I'm about to copy this makeup right
Exactly.
here. I never
Who
done
really
that.
says that? And that's why I
But-
feel like y'all coming off is that people do
But
that.
I'm
don't see
disagreeing
that.
with you due to the fact of that somehow when I look at that Barbie doll makeup, it resemble mine. That's the part I'm trying to say. No one is holding up a picture of a breast doll and it's like, ooh, let me do it like this. But if you have this image embedded in your head of that's pretty or that's gorgeous, then psychologically, sometimes you follow what you see as an infant. That's why a lot of people say, make sure your kids don't hear this. Make sure your kids don't watch that. Because children's brains are so sharp. And they remember everything, especially at that very young age. They remember everything. And if you don't construct them in a way that, you know, is positive, then sometimes it can go bad. Like, it can go bad if you don't direct them in the correct direction. So, no, like I said, so again, no one is really, you know, literally following the techniques of what a Barbie doll had on. But for some reason, our generation looks like Barbie dolls. They look like breast dolls when we used to play with them. So I think it can be very psychological. It can be very innocent in a way. You might not be doing it on purpose. But that's the trend that's out. Because possibly that's the trend that we saw when we were younger. People,
and that's what
celebrities dress that way. Celebrities dress that way because that was the trend. You know? Again, we can refer to people like Nicki Minaj. Like, when she first came out, she had a very youthful fans. I was one of them.
I was one of them.
And
as
she
well.
literally called herself a Barbie.
She had the Barbie necklace.
She
Most
had
of she had the
everything.
pink hair,
Pink hair,
blonde hair.
And then that's also
black
another
hair.
thing that you will see today as well that wasn't happening in the 90s, early 2000s. Today's time, people can wear any hair color, we have this you can literally walk out in orange, green, purple. Like, that was the thing. When people changed their hair color, that was a shock factor. Like, oh my God, you changed your hair.
Right.
But today, like, that's not nothing. People wear colored weave and hairstyles all the time.
Yeah.
Could it be possibly from a Barbie doll and a breast doll? Possibly. But you do have to, I think, take into account that
a Barbie doll was a part of our society
it was a part of
at
us.
one point of time.
Yeah.
And and everything kind of just evolved
and
from
we can be
then.
influenced from that.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and then like,
I feel like I should
and it's like even you can go as far as like the plastic surgery.
I feel like
stuff.
sending y'all this link so y'all can read it because it was on the Daily News of the UK. This lady had a birthday party for this little girl. She had it was like a princess birthday party, whatever, and they all came in dressed like what not a doll or like a Barbie would look like. And she talked in her description, it was all like they had on all short skirts and they had on crop tops. And these are like 6-year-old kids. So it wasn't like, you know, some old kids that was like, no, it was young kids. And as her presents, they all bought her Barbie dolls. And the representation of these Barbie dolls were not good. She all said that they dressed slutty. They didn't look like normal average human beings of a normal day. So it was just kind of like, how are kids perceiving this doll nowadays? You know, like, what do they see in this doll now? Because as we get into internet and all of these gadgets that kids have now, how are they actually looking at the doll now? Because when we were kids, you know, we didn't have like technology like that. We were just, oh, this is a cute doll, I'm gonna play with it. But now, you know, they have a lot more access to these websites and to all of these things. So, like, what do you guys think about that?
I think when it comes to the internet period, that is so important for parents to regulate what they're looking at. Because even like I watch some of the child channels on YouTube, and they can go a little bit pedo sometimes. They can kind of get kind of iffy. Like, what is this message? Like, what is this about? You know, who is this audience really to? And so it gets kind of iffy, and it gets into muddy waters. And so when it comes to, like, children, because a lot of children love to watch doll shows on YouTube. So I think it's the parents' responsibility to really ensure and monitor what children are looking at. I'm going to reflect on back what something Chandra kind of said about the media a little bit. Like, a lot of children today really don't play with physical dolls anymore. But in my opinion, I feel like with the boom of the internet, you have the dolls are celebrities. The dolls, because there was a time, I remember when I was younger, you couldn't interact with celebrities as much as we do today. Mm-hmm. Like, with like Instagram and Twitter, like, you could have direct celebrities talking to, like, just regular people. Right. That was something that wasn't done before. So I think even though people are not playing with those physical dolls no more, that is another form. Oh, that celebrity is pretty. And a lot of times we're in a time of day where, again, just how the Barbie was slightly unrealistic, you have celebrities feeding off to regular people, and sometimes that lifestyle, that look can be unrealistic. Mm-hmm. And you know, you have a lot of celebrities who have a lot of money, they can get plastic surgery. So then it's this idea, looking it's unrealistic, just like exactly. A Barbie,
just like a Barbie doll.
Unrealistic.
I know. That's why I was showing you.
You have this idea, like celebrities with these enhanced breasts, and extremely flat tummies and big boob. I mean, butts, big, yeah,
and extremely small legs
and a skinny nose, small lips. You know, and it's all this makeup.
Even down to skin bleaching at this point. Look,
yes, even to the skin bleaching. To get lighter skin or sometimes darker skin.
Darker skin to tan.
That's regardless of it, the same way Barbie was unrealistic to us, and we look back and was like, that wasn't the right image. You still today have that same thing going on with the media.
So now we have like life-size Barbies, and they're actually real.
Actually real. You know,
that is total. I totally agree with that.
So yeah, you know, we might not be looking at physical Barbies, but I think. And the influence might not be from that toy. We can clearly, I think people around the world can kind of, well, at least in America, can agree that physical, like, toys are becoming something of the past. Like, you have one of the biggest toy companies shut down.
Say it again.
Like Toys R Us. And so I think that overall, we can kind of see that toys no longer truly exist, but like I said, like, the media is the new Barbie.
Are you good? Does anybody else have any other comments that they would like to, or questions for me or anybody else in the group that they would like to discuss?
No, I am okay.
All right. Well, I appreciate you ladies for sticking in for my podcast.
No problem.
Yay. And thank you very much.
Always.